a day earlier, she has passed away. The other soldier is said to be in critical condition, fighting for his life. Trump, hailing Beckstrom as a highly respected young, magnificent person, said that he had learned of her death just before a video call with U.S. troops to mark the Thanksgiving holiday. The incident has shocked the nation, with investigations underway into the circumstances surrounding the shooting.
I must unfortunately tell you that just seconds before I went on, right now, I heard that Sarah Beckstrom of West Virginia, one of the guardsmen that we're talking about, highly respected, young, magnificent person, started service in June of 2023, outstanding in every way. She's just passed away. She's no longer with us. She's looking down at us right now. Her parents are with her. This just happened. She was savagely attacked. She's dead. She's not with us. Incredible person. Outstanding in every single way, in every department. Just horrible.
Now for this discussion, we welcome Mr. Collins Chong-Yu Keat. He's a Foreign Affairs, Security and Strategy Analyst at University of Malaya from Kuala Lumpur. Thank you very much, Mr. Collins, for joining us again. Good to see you. Thank you. Now, looking at this, it seems like U.S. will be starting to looking in their own soil for terrorism or terrorists, not elsewhere, not in Middle East, not in Iraq, not in Asia. How did you analyze this situation now?
Well, a direct attack on U.S. uniformed personnel requires an uncompromising response. That's what Trump has stated. When National Guard members shot near the White House, then the government cannot treat it as a routine crime. So the response signals the attack on U.S. security forces, especially in the Capitol, will trigger immediate structural changes. And of course, also Trump has blamed the previous administration and the Biden administration, where this influx of immigrants from external countries has jeopardized national security, and Trump is right to act immediately. So when your capital is attacked, hesitation is not an option. And of course, also this is about preventing the next attack. It's not reacting to the last one. And I think Trump's message is simple here. If you attack U.S. personnel, Washington will tighten every entry corridor that you have used, and this restores public confidence that national security comes before the notion of political correctness. So Trump has very much, maintained his stance that, he is there for the American people. He is there for the American safety and security. So nothing else comes, before that. And his priorities will always to bolster, to enhance, to amplify the readiness, and of course, peace through strength approach, whether abroad or at home. And that this measure will be in place to ensure that the safety of the American people will always be safeguarded before anything else.
Yes, indeed. And how might this death of a National Guard member near the White House, how do you think this will influence public debates on domestic security?
Definitely, we have seen how this has also created this new public dilemma of balancing the need for individual liberty and of course the norms of the American society, as opposed to the need also to restore order, to prevent conflicts or attacks from happening, and to ensure that the safety and security of the American people will be at the core priority of every administration. So what Trump is doing now is to drill down the message that his administration will always put the American people's lives first, and that his tough approach to the safety of the American people and his tough approach on immigration, on border control, on the vetting of immigrants will always be his number one priority. And this attack has further emboldened this approach, and that although he has opened up new debates on public confidence, on the need of political correctness, on the need to safeguard the rights of the immigrants, I think that in the sentiments on the ground and the overwhelming push or intent of the American people to see that whichever side that you are from, the priority has always been to ensure that the safety and the security of the country and of the people will always be the core priority. I think this is what Trump has been doing now, and that his supporters and the party has been fully behind him, and that I will argue that this will see more measures in place, in terms of vetting, in terms of border control, in terms of tighter, vetting measurements and controls in the months and years to come, and that this is what the American people wanted to see in the first place.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much for highlighting that. Mr. Collins, please stay with us as we come back to you for our Now we stay in this topic. U.S. President Donald Trump has announced a sweeping set of immigration proposals in a social media post, vying to permanently pause migration from all third world countries and launch what he described as reverse migration to restore order in the United States. Trump has also stated that he would end all federal benefits for non-citizens, denaturalize migrants who undermine domestic tranquility, and deport any foreign national considered a public charge, security risk, or non-compatible with Western civilization. He has argued that only reverse migration could resolve what he called illegal and disruptive population growth in the U.S. This comes after the killing of 2 National Guards by an Afghan national near the Farragut West Station in the Northwest Quadrant in Washington, D.C. Experts suggest that such a move will have huge global implications and affect millions who shift to the U.S. for jobs, education, and also to escape persecution in their countries. Now we welcome back Mr. Collins Chong-Yu-Keat. He's a Foreign Affairs Security and Strategy Analyst at University of Malaya, Kuala Lumpur. Now looking at this, as you did mention that, this kind of is what MAGA supporters, especially in U.S. politics, are welcoming. How do you think this will be affecting global and diplomatic consequences if U.S. significantly restricted immigration now?
This has always been in place even before this incident. We have seen, the other global leaders have been well aware of the approach of Trump and how his, peace through strength, America First approach has always prioritized the needs and interests and the demands of, securing the country and the people. So, even in the case of Europe, Trump is right to point out, the impact, the repercussions of uncontrolled migration, the influx of unvetted people, the impact on the local societies in Europe, in individual countries, in terms of safety, in terms of security, in terms of long-term, direct impact on the needs of, national security and national interests have been profound. So this is not an isolated incident to incur a much more greater global debate on that. I think that debate has been settled since years, even during his first term. So, in the case of these, anti-narcotics operations in Venezuela, also we've seen how, there's a profound need also to secure the southern border, and that this is an issue that is not only affecting the lives of the American people, it's also affecting the lives of the neighboring countries in Latin America, in Brazil, in Argentina. So the move also to target, in terms of land-based targeting is also a right intended, move to ensure that, these smuggling operatives, because they are evolving. They are not only operating, based from the sea, but of course they are adapting, shifting from sea to land corridors. So if the U.S. doesn't follow suit, cartels will exploit this gap and will exploit this blind spot, and this will also, of course, have this, chain impact on the countries in Latin America. So what Trump has been doing now is basically to send a very strong message that strength deters any intent to have these threats to the American people, and that ultimately you cannot have this criminalized structure to operate freely in the Western Hemisphere. That has a strategic red line, and Trump's escalation follows the logic of deterrence, to act before the network expands, not after, and to act as, to have these buffer zones and preventative actions before any future attacks were to happen. So I think what Trump has been doing is largely supported by not only his supporters, but by the common sense, awareness of the broader American people as a whole.
But, I 100% agree with you that this debate has been started years ago. But linking a single violent incident towards the National Guard, of course, by a foreigner who was supposedly an ally from Afghanistan. But how do you think this will affect public discourse in policymaking and the treatment of immigrant communities? Because, we know that in U.S., a lot of gun violence is not from the immigrants, but from white people. Indeed, especially school shooting. Even Charlie Kirk this year has been assassinated, and the person who has been detained was a white person.
Well, we have seen, of course, also the concerns being raised, in terms of statistics, in terms of the real situation on the ground. Of course, Trump knows better in terms of how he has impacted the concerns and wariness of the local people. And of course, to review these green card holders from selected countries is not, it's basically a targeted risk management. It's a preventive action. It's not a blanket punishment. And this is what, generally the American people, what they have wanted all the while, but, they have been constrained, they have been hampered by, woke policies or liberal policies that are very much, aligned with this notion of political correctness. So Trump is here to say that, the era of political correctness is now over. It stops with him, the buck stops with him, and that, he's simply, portraying, and doing actions that what the American people have always wanted the governments to do, which is to ensure the safety and security of the American people at large, and that to do common sense, to have these common sense policies to prevent things from happening and to ensure that risks are controlled. And of course, the interests of the country and of the American people are always prioritized. So this is what the American people wanted and what Trump has delivered. And it's a simple common sense policy by him. And I think largely the American people, and not only from his party, but especially from the ones who have been staying in cities that have been ravaged by all these crimes and these safety concerns along the southern border, and of course largely also in cities which are Democrat controlled, in terms of, like, I can see Chicago and LA and New York. These concerns have been raised now. So I think that what Trump has been doing has been very much a Trump policy, as we can all expect, and this, I think, what the American people wanted in the first place.
Right. With that, I would like to thank Mr. Collins, Professor Collins, for